Pedro Pablo Nakada, a Peruvian man, decides to enlist for the army in his home country of Peru. He has decided to serve his country, but he wants to serve God as well. And joining the army will complete both those things, but his true goal is to be a soldier of God first and eliminate any of God's enemies, which include drug addicts, prostitutes, homosexuals, and criminals. Hello, welcome back to our podcast. I am the Grin, and joining me tonight is the lovely
Amari.
So welcome back, you guys. This is a place where we do not shy away from the gruesome details. Some things may be triggering and hard to hear, so listener discretion is advised. Get yourself in the right space of mind, and let's talk about dark shit. All right.
Okay.
So, in case you couldn't tell, I'm taking us all the way down to Peru for this one. And this will be our first time, or my first time, doing a two-parter. So this is going to be a part one to a two-parter.
Ooh.
I know. Okay.
Fun.
So tonight we're going to be talking about one of Peru's most notorious monsters. We're going to be talking about Pedro Pablo Mesias Ludeña, who was born on February 28th, 1973 in Lima, Peru. So, we're going to talk a little bit about his backstory. Pedro's father was an alcoholic and a very violent man who would always beat and humiliate his wife, children or no children, in front of the actions. However, his dad would soon die when he was just a young boy, and his mother did suffer from an unspecified mental disorder. So, as you can tell, he had a difficult childhood and was introduced to violence at a very early age, which is why some of Pedro's siblings went on to live and be raised by other aunts and uncles. Since there was a total of 9 of them, the mom couldn't take care of all 9. So she was just left in charge of the older ones, and the younger ones were sent away. Pedro was also the victim of bullying, and bullying with a capital B, you guys, because it was pretty severe. Apparently, the bullying was so severe that he started distancing himself and completely stopped interacting with anybody else, which is what some people point to might have been the start of why he was so awkward around people. But I don't think so. But apparently it was pretty severe.
Why did they bully him?
He was just an awkward kid.
They bullied him because he was awkward?
He was just easy
making him more awkward?
He was an easy target, we'll put it there, because the torment didn't just occur in school. It also occurred at home by his own siblings.
That is so sad.
Yeah.
That poor kid.
Yeah, it gets even worse. His older sisters always got a kick out of dressing him up in dresses and girls' clothing and just shoving him outside the house and locking the doors so that people could tease him and pick on him. But the worst came after the family pet dog was found dead. Keep in mind the dog was pregnant, so people, all of them, took turns taking care of the dog. But when the poor animal was found dead, immediately the brothers accused him of killing their pet. How they came up with this accusation, I have no clue. But
did he actually kill?
No, he didn't. And he still claims that he didn't. But what they do to him is unforgivable. I'll just put it at that. His older brothers were very violent too. And as a form of punishment for killing their pet, they all sexually assaulted him.
What?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense.
Why would that zero sense.
Be so? I'm sorry. I don't even know what to say. How does that? I have no words. Just keep going. I
Yeah, when I heard that part,
shooketh.
there you go. Yeah,
That's it.
exactly. Um, but as you can imagine, this made something in him snap. He thought that if everybody was assuming that he was capable enough of killing animals, then why shouldn't he kill animals? And thus the first, what is it, symptom showing clue of the McDonald triad.
One of the clues.
One of the clues, torturing animals.
How old was he when all of this happened?
He was in third grade when all this was going on.
7?
7, 8.
7, 8 years old.
7, 8 years
My
old.
God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he began torturing animals. At one point, or on one occasion, his mother had hit him during one of her episodes, and this infuriated him that he immediately went outside and grabbed one of the stray cats that the family was looking after, and immediately threw the cat in a pot with water and boiled it alive.
And he was still 8?
Mm-hmm. He was still a kid.
Oh my God, that is
Yeah.
some deep-rooted stuff right
he
there.
He is filled with anger.
Actually, that's not even deep-rooted because it's all out. Like, freaking the brothers, the sisters, the school. Like, no wonder he has issues.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm not going to forgive him for whatever he does in the future, but I'm just saying, like, childhood.
At this moment,
yes.
Like most horrible killers that we cover, this one did have a torturous childhood. And unfortunately, a lot of people played a part into what the kind of monster that he becomes. Pedro completed the third grade, and that's when he realized just school wasn't it and completely dropped out and decided to go get himself a job because this would solve two things. One, he wouldn't have to deal with bullies anymore. And two, he would stay away from home much longer because he resented every single person in his family. He grew to hate his family so much that he wanted nothing to do with any of them. So in 2003, now we're jumping all the way to 2003, Pedro went from the last name Messias to Nakada. He did this by paying a Japanese citizen 800 Peruvian soles or soles, equivalent to $220 today.
To change his last name?
To adopt him as an adult and get his name legally changed. He did this because obviously the name change. He doesn't want to do anything, have nothing to do with his family. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to migrate to Japan. And if the citizen adopted him, he could say that he is a Japanese descendant and could migrate to Japan much easier. So here's a little history lesson with the Grin, because I had no idea about this until I started reading about this case. So in Peru, if you go there, there's a lot of Japanese influence because during the years of, I forgot when it started, 18 something to World War II, towards the end of World War II, a lot of Japanese citizens migrated to Peru because there was a lot of work. They were working on rubber and what was the other thing? Fruits that were being introduced that they've never heard of. So many people were just migrating. It was big flows of people. And that's why in today's time, there's a lot of Japanese influence in most of Peru. But there came a time when a lot of people, so in the 2000s, because this is taking place in 2003, when a lot of people were turning their back on Peru and going back to Japan, going back to their homeland. So a lot of young people who were descendants of Japanese citizens who came a long time ago were able to head back to their motherland because they were Japanese descendants. And I did not know this either, that in Japan, there's also a lot of Peruvian Japanese.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I never heard of that.
I've never heard of that either. I mean, one of Peru's presidents, and I say that loosely because he was more of a dictator, was a Japanese man.
Oh,
Yeah.
history with a grin.
Yeah, history with a grin. I hope you guys learned something in today's lesson.
I did.
But yeah, so that's why he did that. He's like, oh, well, I mean, I'm going to go with everybody else and just go back to Japan. And this way it'll be much easier. This tactic did not work for him, unfortunately. He was able to get his name changed, but moving to Japan was not in the cards. But for his younger brother, Viren Jonathan Nakada, this did work, and he went to Japan.
So his younger brother got adopted by the same person?
Mm-hmm. Apparently so.
And were they close? I thought he wasn't close with his family.
He wasn't, so that's why I will talk more about him in part 2 of this episode.
Okay.
Because he will play an important role in the next episode. Okay, so yeah, Pedro is stuck in Peru, not in the cards of going to Japan. And at some point in his life, religion was introduced, specifically Catholicism. And this became something that is or was very important, is very important to him. But as the years went by, he grew a lot of hatred, a lot more than what he already had. And he felt like he needed to unleash it in a way. That is until God spoke to him, claiming that God had commanded him to cleanse the earth. His mission was to eliminate villains, God's enemies, which were drug addicts, prostitutes, homosexuals, and criminals. But in order to complete his mission, he needed authority and power. So he decided to enlist in the Peruvian army, where he would become a soldier. This way, he could eliminate all of God's enemies without any obstacles. And I say that in quotes because that's what he said when he was caught. However, it wasn't all smooth sailing for him. Many of his peers did come forward to the higher-ups with suspicions that there was something wrong with Pedro. After he started showing odd behavior, many of them had caught him talking and getting angry with people who weren't even there, having long, detailed conversations with himself, and his emotions always rapidly changing. Now, Pedro claimed that this was just him praying and his peers just teasing him for practicing his religion. But even they noticed there was something deeper going on with him. So Pedro was then ordered to get himself evaluated by a psychologist. And it was determined that Pedro suffered from paranoid schizophrenia and was ordered not to go near any weapons, as it was determined that he was a danger to himself and others. However, after 2 days, Pedro was told that his services were no longer needed, to which he attempted suicide but was saved. So it was a failed suicide attempt, and was ordered to basically go home without any orders to go seek help, basically.
So they figured out that he's a paranoid schizophrenic, but they didn't tell him to go get help?
Exactly.
So they find this out and they say, hey, you can't be in the military. Sorry. Go on. Shoo.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. Pedro eventually moved to Guaran, where he lived out for a year, and he grew very depressed in that 1 year. He didn't want to go out, didn't want to speak to anybody, but he remembered that he had a mission still that he needed to complete. So here in Guaran, Peru, is where he became the monster that he is known as. So on January 1st, 2005, 26-year-old Carlos Edilberto Merino Aguilar was selling watermelons on the beach, going from person to person. Then he started approaching Pedro, and Pedro noticed the young man and immediately thought that this man was going to rob him. Pedro immediately pulls out a 9mm pistol and shoots Carlos in the thorax and abdomen, killing him. Pedro flees the crime scene, but not before taking the money that he thought Carlos had stolen from him. After the death of Carlos, Pedro was now ready to complete his mission. He thought
Because he
that
finally killed somebody.
he finally killed somebody. He thought that what he did was not wrong. In God's eyes, he did good. Now he had a purpose again. And he was going to continue killing people. But in order to do this, he created a silencer because he noticed that he did attract some people during Carlos's murder. But he was never caught nor stopped.
He was able to get away in broad daylight?
Yes.
Holy crap.
Yes.
And I was just thinking right now, I had to look it up, of paranoid schizophrenia. I was thinking, is it hereditary? But the thing is, it says it's all over the place. It could be hereditary. It could be environmental, which would make sense, especially with his upbringing.
More on that later. Because yes, I did look into that. And that was crazy when I looked into it. But I will keep you tuned here because it's going to seep over to the next part as well. Okay, so March 31st, 2006, he waited basically a year because he wanted to train himself. So March 31st, 2006, Teresa Cotrina Abad, 50 years old, was shot twice in the head and then died from perforating head trauma. So I get it. She was just bleeding profusely. He did this because he saw her smoking cigarettes outside of her house and thought that she was smoking weed.
That's why he killed her? Because he thought she was smoking weed?
He thought.
Well, then again, he did kill I forgot his name. The watermelon. Carlos. Because he thought he was going to rob him, even though he has watermelons.
Yes, he was selling watermelons by the beach. So yeah, there was something deeply wrong with him. July 20th, 2006. Walter Sandoval Osorio was shot once in the head and then was able to make it to the hospital, but unfortunately died from the injury once he was there. He was killed because he was a known criminal in the area, but he wasn't committing any crime when he was shot. He was just walking about, just regular day.
And would he see him in the newspaper? So he was like, I know who that guy is.
I know who that guy is. And he just approached him and shot him.
So I don't know if you're going to bring this up later or not, but does he ever go after his siblings?
No.
Part 2? Oh, no?
No, he doesn't. And in my head, I would think that would be where he would already, that would be the first place to go. Yeah. Not that it's right or anything. It's just... that is where your hatred stems because of what they did to you.
Yeah. That's weird, unless he still has this, their family, so they can't be touched.
Heart?
I don't know if I want to say heart. He does not have a heart if he's killing others for no reason.
That's true. I don't know. Maybe some kind of conscious thing?
Maybe. Just don't touch family? I don't know. It's weird.
I know. You know what? Thank you, Mari, because I didn't think about that. Yeah. No, but he never goes after them.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So, his next victim was a 30-year-old named Gerardo Leonardo Cruz Livia, who was actually partners with Pedro. They performed a robbery together. In that robbery occurrence, case, crime, somebody did die because they were trying to stop these two from stealing their car, and they shot and killed the man. Nakada immediately did not want anything to do with Gerardo, and I told him this, but Gerardo was like, no, you're my partner in crime. You have to help me again so we can get more money. To which Pedro did not like and shot him several times in the head and then submerged him in water. His body was not found until August 8th of 2006. The date that he was killed is unknown because Pedro stated that he forgot.
He is such an ass because he is killing criminals as part of it. He is a criminal.
He is a criminal.
What does he think he is? He doesn't consider
He
himself
thinks,
a criminal?
no. This was actually answered in an interview that he did. When they asked him, you robbed too? He said, I robbed because I had a purpose. I needed to raise money so I can kill enemies of God.
I had to become a criminal to raise money to kill people.
Yes.
So what do the other criminals out in the world? They do it for fun? They don't have a purpose? They're not trying to get money to do whatever else they're trying to do?
Good question.
I don't like this guy.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a monster. He's a monster. Just like a lot of people we cover. No, this
See, I don't
this one
like
is
that he's trying to use the whole I'm doing this for God thing. No. You're a bully. You're killing people for your own.
Keep in mind, this man is not all
That's
there.
true.
It
He's
doesn't
sick.
not
That's right.
condone what he does, but he is not all the way there. According to him, he is speaking to God. So
Oh wait, he thinks he's speaking to
no,
God?
he claims that he is speaking with God. That's where the schizophrenia is probably kicking in.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. August 18th, 2006. That's when the body of 21-year-old Carlos Walter Terrazona Toledo was found. He was out smoking drugs when Pedro again approached him and then shot him with his firearm several times, and he died from blood loss. Some of these, keep in mind, some of these I'm going to start mentioning dates, but it was date of discovery of the body because it got to the point where Pedro was just out shooting and killing people, and he completely forgot the dates and the order in which he killed them.
I'm imagining that these are happening during the day. Are a lot of these things happening during the day or night?
This next one is happening during the day, and this next one is pretty infuriating.
See, if these things are happening during the day, where are the police? Do they not have a lot of authorities over there?
See, with police, I feel like they do, and I think they do. I've never been to Peru. I honestly can't even answer you on that one. Maybe they're not allowed to go near things like this.
This probably isn't helping his mentality either.
No, it's not.
Like he's easily
Absolutely
able to get away. He's like, see, this is my purpose.
That was the 5th person he killed. We're on to the next one. This next one was the one that kind of made me pretty sad. So his next victim was 15-year-old Maria Veronica Tolentino Pajuelo, who was out in the park in Santa Rosa when she was shot because she was approaching Pedro, and all he saw when he looked at her was the bike she had with her. He shot her, stealing the bike, but then noticed that she wasn't riding the bike because the tire was broken. There, he did lament to killing her, but believed it was collateral damage for a good purpose. She was shot twice, once in the head, another in the chest, and I don't think many of these people didn't deserve to die, but that one was pretty heartbreaking. Her body was discovered August 19th of 2006.
He's crazy.
Yes.
He is crazy. He only felt bad after finding out the bike is not usable.
Yeah.
That's the only reason he felt bad.
But then he shook it off, saying that she died for a greater good.
That is a horrible... I'm fighting inside my head like, no, he's sick. It's okay. There's a reason he's doing this. No, that's horrible.
That is horrible.
There has to be
Absolutely.
at least something. I understand you're paranoid schizophrenic. There has to be a little level inside of your head where it's like, this is going too far. You're brimming on like this is too much.
So here's my theory. I feel like this man was suffering from mental a mental disorder at a very young age, and probably from all the traumatic things that was going on in his childhood did not help. And just basically everybody from his childhood went and created this broken human being, if you even want to call him a human being.
No, he's a fighter. He's a warrior for God.
Next victim is. We love your sarcasm here, Mari. It's always welcome.
I have to say it out loud because you guys can't see my face, but it's all sarcasm.
And no, we're never going to record ourselves. I know some of you keep asking, but no, we're not going to do that. This is why we use code names.
Shush, it's my real name.
Seventh victim, Hugo Vilches Palomino. His age is unknown. His body was discovered on November 18th, 2006. He was shot after it was discovered that he was flirting around with a girl who Pedro claimed to be his love interest.
He actually had time for a love interest?
According to
crush or whatever?
According to him. But I looked into that because I was also very suspicious because he did claim that he had a nurse girlfriend. I found no evidence of this man ever having a nurse girlfriend in any of the articles that I read.
She lives in a different state, okay?
She lives in his head. She lives in Japan.
She doesn't go here.
So the next one is a group, our 8th, 9th, and 10th victim, Luis Enrique Moran Cervantes, 32, 24-year-old Pedro Omar Carrera, 22-year-old Enoque Eliseo Felix Zorria, were all shot and killed because Pedro assumed that they were up to something suspicious in a taxi that the two young boys were riding in with their driver. He stopped the car, approached, shot all three, stole the taxi, and thus stopping whatever suspicious acts they were up to.
See, for some reason, that one actually kind of not scared me, but that one kind of gave me the irks a little. Because you just never know. You can just be driving home and somebody could just, random person you see walking on the street, right? They're going somewhere. They could just stop you and just kill you.
Yes, that is true.
That's scary.
And that one did happen at night. That one I did find out. That one did happen at night. The other ones, yeah, I don't know where the cops are, but it is going on during the day, especially this next one. 11th victim, Whitmar Jesus Muñoz Villanueva, age 42, was shot and killed on November 19th, 2006. He was a cosmetologist, and Nakada heard rumors that Whitmar was not only a hairdresser and, helping girls be pretty and go to them, but he was also providing sexual services. And this was a big no-no in Pedro's eyes.
Everything's a big no-no.
Everything is a big no-no. And when he found out about this, he went to the salon. Wait, what? He went to the
roles reversed.
I know. He went to the salon and immediately told Munoz that he needed help performing sexual acts, and if Munoz was interested. Munoz said yes, and that's when he took out his gun and shot him in the head. And then that's when Pedro stole 541 soles and then fled the scene.
He's even stealing from them.
He is.
Like, he doesn't... I'm not going to try to make sense of anything that he's doing because nothing makes sense. Nothing in his mind is right.
This one does not. Our next victim, Nel Cajelon Pajuelo, was killed on December 10th, 2006 because of his bike.
Another bike
situation. This time the bike was working, but he lured Nel to a building where they went up on like the top. What do you call that? What do you call the top floor where there's like nothing else? Like the skyline? No.
No. Damn it, I want to say veranda, but I don't think that's it either. The top floor of the parking lot.
The top floor of the parking lot. Yes, that's where
The parkade thing.
he persuaded him to go. That's where he shot, killed him, stole the bike, and then dropped his body off the building. The body was dropped 200 meters.
Like Batman?
Yeah.
It's immediately what I did.
Our next victims were 24-year-old Nazario Julian Tamariz Perez and 22-year-old Didier Jesus Zapata Dulanto. Two boys who were very open about their relationship. And when Pedro found out about their relationship, he followed them until nighttime. And when they were at a park alone, he pulled out his pistol, killing Nazario and then killing Didier. He then decided to steal their shoes and money, which was only 36 soles, and ran.
He's killing so many people. And this is, what year did you say now? 2019?
2006. We're still in
Oh,
2006.
why did I say, I thought I heard you say 2019 earlier.
No, 2006. We're still in 2006.
Huh, ignore me. 2006. That's a lot of people still within a few. Okay. It makes it even worse then. If there's so many people within just a few years.
Just the 1 year.
Or 1 year. This is 1 year. Where am I? Where am I?
Are you okay?
No, I'm still sick, remember?
Yes. Oh, yes. Amari is still sick, you guys, so we have to excuse her.
You guys can still tell in my voice. You'll hear probably some cuts in here because I have to stop to cough. This is all within 1 year.
This is all within 1 year.
Oh my, this is way worse.
Mm-hmm. Our 15th and 16th victim, Agustin Andres Maguiña Oropesa, 46, and Luis Melgarejo Sáenz, 54, were both shot once in the head and killed on December 24, 2006, because they were known alcoholics in the neighborhood.
I really feel like, I don't know. I want to say he's making this stuff up. Like, I'm killing people because they're bad people, alcoholics, drug dealers, blah, 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 blah. But also some of them they're not even bad people.
Yeah.
Like you just want to kill them for their bikes or things like that.
Or
He's
for their
just
money.
making up lies.
Yeah.
He's lying. There was no purpose. He just wanted to kill people.
Yeah. That's definitely one way to look at it. Our 17th victim, Nicolás Tolentino Purizaca Gamboa, was killed on December 27, 2006. He was shot once in the head and was actually able to walk himself to a nearby hospital where he passed out once he arrived and died of his wounds. He was caught by Pedro smoking or doing drugs in the park, and that's why he did this. So in total, there is 17 victims so far, and New Year's is approaching, and Pedro had a grand plan to welcome 2007. What he wanted to do was go to one of the most popular and populated clubs in the city and set off a bunch of grenades, killing everybody in the club, because he knew that there was a bunch of notorious drug dealers, people who were not godly in his eyes. And thankfully, police were aware of him at this point, because there was a witness during one of the crimes who saw this man leave and followed him.
I was going to ask you, after so many deaths, have the police thought of anything? Like, are they even catching it? Like, oh, there's a killer out there.
Yes.
Okay.
But police did have a bit of a struggle trying to figure out who could be doing this, since from the ages and the sex and the and the ways that, well, they were all killed by being shot, but from the ages and the sex, it pretty much ranged.
Yeah, because it was all over the place.
It
Usually, killers have a certain type of person who looks like this person, or
or they
men who are taxi drivers, or,
exactly, or they only go out during the day, or they only go out during the night.
Yeah.
This was sporadic. It was everywhere.
You really don't hear that except for, oh my God, what was his name? The Night Stalker. Like, he was sporadic as well.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that's true. I forgot
Like,
about
you
that one.
really don't hear about that.
It's very rare.
Yeah.
That is correct. So that is why police did have a hard time even connecting these murders. They thought it could have been done by what was it? Drug dealers. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word. Drug dealers. But on December 28, 2006, police immediately surround Pedro's home and they have a warrant to arrest him, to which he was not going to go down easily. And he begins a shootout with police, injuring one of the policemen and tries to flee, but then was immediately caught because this man was surrounded and was taken in for questioning. He confessed to have killed 25 people, but there were only 17 known murders, 17 bodies that they were able to recover. So they don't know if he's just bullshitting that number because he forgot and lost count, or he actually killed more than what they found.
I'm just going to say this. You said there was 9 siblings, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's 8 other people that he says he killed. Unless they know where the family is, then it's not them.
I was going to get to the family. Okay. So Pedro was sentenced to the maximum prison term. And get this. This is the maximum prison. This is another thing.
You're going to say 12, aren't you?
You're going to learn with the grin from Peru. He was sentenced to a maximum prison term of 35 years.
Why? 35.
35. That is the law.
Why? That's the max?
That is the max.
Why? Why is that the max?
So I didn't want to believe it either, but I did look into it. Literally, the man that I mentioned earlier, the president, the dictator, the man in charge of causing mass killings in this country, served that max of 35 years. This is the max of the country.
What the heck?
Yeah.
And here in the States, it could be up to 200 something years.
What in the world?
People don't live past 100. Well,
yeah.
Not everybody.
That is, when I found that out, I thought that was absolutely insane.
That is, he ended people's lives, young ones too.
17 people.
This makes me scared to ever go to Peru.
That's true. And here I was, Peru is like my top country. I think I'll still go to Peru because I feel like you can find evil anywhere. But yes, 35 years, the maximum sentence in Peru. Now, we're going to jump over to 2009. And they reopen his case. And they feel like, you don't deserve 35 years. There is something deeply wrong about you. There's something that is not all the way there. You need help. So
they don't know that he's been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenic?
People know. This is what's so confusing about this case is people know this man is suffering from schizophrenia. Like, who the fuck is going to go up to a cop and tell him, oh, I did it because I heard voices from God telling me to do it. There's something wrong with this individual, but they still sent him to 35 years.
But now they're saying,
it wasn't until 2009 when they were like, no, actually,
something's deeper.
We need to look into that. And they decided to take this man out of prison and send him to a psychiatric hospital where he will get the help that he needs. But he will, I guess, stay there until he is stable enough to take care of himself, and then he will be released. And this case...
Not actually put back into prison.
No.
We're going to help fix you so you can leave. but you don't have to serve your full term.
Yes.
Like, to me, okay, yeah, he's sick. He's supposed to be in the hospital to get help. Help him understand, like, hey, you messed up. Like, you were really bad right now. You were, back then, you were really sick and you did bad things. We need to help you understand that.
Yes.
And so you can, go on and suffer in prison
Yes.
for what you've done.
Absolutely. It makes zero sense to me. And then I did look into, because I wanted to make sure I wasn't being bullshitted, because that made no sense to me. And no, people are infuriated with how this case is being handled, because keep in mind, that was 2009. We're in 2024. This man could be released at any moment. And people have no say. If in 35 years hasn't passed and he's supposed to stay there until he's stable enough, he could be released at any time.
But I'm also thinking that it's been that long and we're 2024 and he's still not stable.
Yeah.
I don't think he's not gonna get fixed. Fixed? I'm gonna use fixed. Yeah.
You're going to use fixed.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
use fixed.
Yeah.
Because he's already been in the hospital for years now.
Yes.
And he still hasn't been able to get helped. Like medication?
But it's still infuriating.
It is. No,
It's still infuriating. Yeah, absolutely. And now we're going to go back to that little part where you were like, schizophrenia. I want to know if it's hereditary or if
environmental.
It's like, there was a lot of family members from his family evil tree, whatever, that are schizophrenics. His mom was determined to be a schizophrenic. His eldest sister, schizophrenic, but she got the help, professional help, and is actually living her days in a psychiatric hospital. And then his other sister, also a schizophrenic, never got the help, that kind of like Pedro, and ended up committing suicide at a young age.
Holy crap.
And the younger brother, Byron Jonathan Nakada, schizophrenic, but more on him on part 2.
That is scary. That it wasn't just him.
It was not just him.
Almost all of them.
Yes, that we know of.
Oh, that is scary. That's a scary thought. One of them's in a hospital now. Oh my God. I don't even know what you're going to say about the younger brother.
Tune in on the next time Grin shares his episode, and you will learn about Byron Jonathan Nakada, who, don't forget, immigrated to Japan.
That one's going to be fun.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add, Amadi?
No, just don't forget to, you know what Grin says. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to follow.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
Let us know what you thought about this episode. It was a crazy, rapid, insane, jaw-dropping, horrific one. And
especially with all within 1 year.
All within 1 year. But yeah, did you know that whole max sentence in Peru? If we have Peruvian listeners, we would love to get your input on all this. Like, let us know. I'm so curious about that when I found that out. I thought that was insane.
It's insane. It's scary, too.
It is insane and scary. But with that, remember to be well.
Be safe.
And see you next time. Bye.